Today we are going to do some Virgo planning. Now, some of you, if not all of you, are familiar with this sacred business growth cycle. And this is really the foundation of the entire natural cycle planner, and also of how sacred business is designed to help people grow their businesses. So there are 4 stages: seed, roots, leaves and fruit in this growth cycle, and each of them have a different focus. The key here, and this is all I'm going to mention about this today, and some of you are already familiar with the creator types. The key here is that you need to understand how you function in each of these stages, and particularly what your strengths are. So some people function really well in the design phase of a business. They're really good at being creative, coming up with lots of ideas. But moving around the cycle, we have to switch focus. We have to start to plan and create stability in our business in the roots phase. So the planners love this phase. They love to gather resources, look at what they've got in their arsenal, at their disposal, and then set milestones and goals to move forward. In the leaf stage, these are the people who are naturally inclined to expand. And you'll really notice these people because they just love to live on that edge of expansion, want more, want bigger and better all the time. And that's what they're constantly aiming for. So these ones represent the canopy of the tree growing outwards, really starting to build that lushness in the canopy and spread the branches of the business. But of course that can't happen unless the trunk is strong from the seed stage, the identity of the business. The roots are strong, of course, to hold that canopy in place and weather change. And then once that canopy is filled out, it can start to blossom. So in the fruit stage of a business, this is where you find people who are inclined to focus on the human aspect of business. They're very connected to their community. They're very focused on how is this benefiting people? What are people saying on the front line? How is this business impacting them at the end of the day? So these people have the kind of, they really have the fruit on the tree in view when they're creating anything, because ultimately that's what business is about, is serving people, is evolving our society. So when it comes to the creator types, this is based on your natural way of creating. And you'll find that you're predisposed, and this is based on your body type actually, but I won't go into that now. That was in my previous training, how to know what your business needs to grow. I'm happy to share that with you if you'd like the link, if you weren't there live. But your body shows how your soul expresses itself in this world. If you're a really small framed person who's really dynamic and a fast mover, then you're not really going to be naturally inclined to grow roots deep into the ground, because you're meant to be on skates. You're meant to be darting around at the ground level, testing different things and experimenting. So your body gives a lot away about how you naturally create. And this is really important because primarily it is your vehicle for creation, not your business. Your body is what gives it away first. But then we apply that to business. So these are the creator types, and of course they're nature-based. And you'll see that there are particular types that sit within each stage. And this is really important because you want to know what your creator type is and where you sit in this entire cycle. Because then you not only know what your natural aptitude is and which stage of the cycle is going to come most naturally to you, you also know what areas you need help in, what areas you need to stretch yourself into and perhaps get assistance. Jillian's saying something is creating a secondary noise on our mic. Is that coming from my mic? That's strange.
No, I can hear it too.
Is that any better?
Where's your microphone actually dragging on your clothes, Nat?
Does that work better?
Yeah, it could be on your clothes.
It's your microphone's dragging across
mic
the
touching my
lanyard.
shirt, was it?
Yep.
Okay. Is this loud enough for you? Yes? Okay. Do let me know if there's any sound issues, because we want to make sure that it comes across nice and clear. Okay, so yes, this is just a very brief overview of how your individual creation style fits within the growth cycle of a business and what your natural aptitude is. So I'm going to give an example of myself. So my primary creator type is lava. Now, lava is the one that is really unearthing the new business. So this kind of person is naturally attuned to revolutionizing what has come before. And that can mean a business that's reinventing itself or a brand new business. So they really have this visionary capacity to go, okay, what's the big picture of what needs to change here? And how does that articulate into the business identity? How do we design a business from that? My secondary type is lightning. So these are the strategists. So it's no surprise that I also teach strategic planning. So lightning is about precision, coming from the top down, coming from the sky, and being extremely focused about where you're going and what is going to cut to the chase. So what is going to go straight to where you want to go without diversions. So you can see this, all of these types lend themselves to business in some form, and we're all growing businesses here, so we have to be across all of these functions to some degree, but it really helps to know what you're best at. So I'm going to leave that little intro there. Feel free to ask me any more information about this if you'd like after the session today. I'm happy to stay on and answer any questions, because we got lots to cover with Virgo, because this is our mid-year reality check. So in the natural cycle year, which started in March and ends in March next year, Virgo marks the midway point of that natural year, which means that, and of course, this is what Virgo is about. Virgo is about, okay, so what's concrete? What's really working? What isn't working? Chuck out what's not working and let's make things better. So they are the perfectionists. They are the ones who get extremely organized and streamlined about what they're doing so that they can serve people in a way that's really genuinely helping them. If you like, the Virgos are the servants of the zodiac. They're very focused on offering tangible value to people. And it makes them great in a work context because this is their focus. In the background, of course, Virgo is very useful for getting back-end tasks sorted and humming. So we're going to talk a little bit about that back-end aspect in a moment, but right now we want to be thinking about what you planned as your 12 cycle goal, your 12-month intention. Where do you want to be in your business in March next year? Reviewing that and asking, are you on track to achieving that intention? This is the month to really get real about what you're doing, and are you going to get there, and make any tweaks that are necessary. So that's the other question. What milestones need to be added, removed, or adjusted this month so that you are on track to achieving that goal? You can refine your goal throughout the year as well, but if you really took the time to dig deep and sense into your business and where it's heading, where it needs to grow in the next year, it's not going to change too much. Whatever you defined back in March is going to be pretty spot on, but you might tweak it or refine it a little bit. It's more so the milestones that we need to look at, because things happen during the year. You know, milestones drop off, they're no longer relevant. You might be change direction, even though your goal, your 12 cycle goal is the same. Some of those milestones may no longer apply. I'm going to give an example in a moment. So these are the main areas that you really want to be defining those milestones, so that you have all of your bases covered: marketing, creativity, money, and planning. And they loosely align with the 4 stages of the growth cycle. So I'm going to show you that now. I'm just going to exit this and share my other screen. Okay, can everyone see my Google Doc here? Yep. Okay. So this is what I use myself and with my clients to define the milestones for the year. And this is a working document, so it does get adjusted throughout the year. And this is so important. This is your template for the entire year to make sure that you get to your goal. How many people have gone at the end of the year, oh, don't know what happened. How did I get here? Does that happen to anyone? Wondering, where did the year go? You know, why am I ending up here when I meant to go over there? So being really dynamic in adjusting these milestones is key throughout the year, but particularly in Virgo, halfway point. So I've just shared my 12-month intention here to expand my reach, teach, and share my soul work with aligned audiences. And I've put I'm in the process of reviewing my milestones at the moment. So I've just put some of them here as an example, but you can see that I've divided them up, those milestones up into the 4 stages. And I'm happy to provide, there's a worksheet, well, not a worksheet, a PDF that actually defines in more detail what tasks are relevant to each stage. But for those who are familiar with this, you'll know roughly what your milestones fall under. And the purpose of doing it this way, sorry, I'll come to you in a sec, Jill, you've got a question. The purpose of doing it this way is to make sure that you are paying attention to all the key functions of your business throughout the year. That you're not going, oh, I'm feeling really creative this year, so I'll just focus there and have no roots or have no marketing plan in place to share my creations. So there's great benefit in understanding those different functions and balancing your milestones across the board. Jillian, I'll unmute you. Far away.
So I haven't done this part. I've only done it in relation to each month. And I can see the value of this sitting underneath my calendar each month so I can stay on track, because I can be very airheady when it comes to planning. So I definitely see the value in having this as my significant foundations, and then just changing each month as I go. I really need to do this.
Yep. Actually, and because Jillian and I are working together privately, this is what we did in your first session. So it's pretty much all.
Yeah. But it's the visual of it is now just going, uh-huh.
Yeah.
And it may be that we've entered Virgo and that's why it's but
that's a really good point. In Virgo, you're supposed to have aha moments where you go, oh my God, this isn't realistic what I'm doing. You know, it might be a particular offer that you have or a particular way that you're doing your marketing. You know, is it really sustainable? Is it actually contributing to your goal? Every single milestone here must contribute to your goal. That is the purpose of a milestone. If you skip one, you can't fulfill your 12 cycle goal. That's how important the milestones are. So, and this is what I help people with in their private sessions, because sometimes it's really hard to get to that clarity of exactly what is needed to get there. Thanks for sharing that example, Jill, because yeah, it's really good feedback. When it's visual, it's real. It's the next level of real. Anyway. Okay, so I'm happy to share this template as well for those who would like it. Yes, Jill, I'll send you the link to yours. Okay, all right, back to the slides. Jody says earrings, maybe? Was it my earrings going ding, 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 ding on my headphones? Funny. Okay. Back to the slides. Okay. Any questions about that before we move on? No? Okay. I'm going to talk more about what's involved in Virgo in a moment, but of course, we want to have our natural timing tip for the month. So, natural timing, feel like a broken record. Who wants to share their definition of natural timing? Has anyone had any experiences of natural timing lately that has helped them to understand what it means to them, to you? What does natural timing mean for you in practice? Anyone want to share? Jill? Go for it.
Well, I saw it in flow last month, even though last month was a totally freaky nutso month. I had this need to see, and it was a need to see my mother, and I hadn't committed to that extra flight. Like it was looking to be about $1,100 just to go and see her. And at the time, it was also my school reunion. Nothing seemed to open up, so I just went, okay, I'm meant to go, make it happen. And some money came in, which I wasn't expecting, booked the flight. The day before I flew out, my mother told me she had ovarian cancer. I spent a week with her in and out of that week because I was also going to reunion as well, and everything just flowed the way it was supposed to. Interestingly, she flew out on the Monday down here to Brisbane, and I became intensely ill. Like, you wouldn't believe. I couldn't get out of bed. I managed to get some drugs into me and get on a flight the next day, and I couldn't go and see her. So, like, for 5 days, I couldn't go to see her at the hospital. And I was lying there in my delirium, wondering why I couldn't go and see her. And interestingly, the 4 days that I did spend with her eventually before she went back after her chemo was more specifically towards me. And my sister had come down, and she manages her stress by managing everyone else. And by the time I got down there, Mum was ready just to sit and talk. And so I could have forced myself to go there and actually cause more problems by making her sick before her chemo or during her chemo. But the flow just happened the way it was supposed to. And it also didn't put any pressure on her. So when my sister actually became too much for her, she could help talk to me. So where there was an opportunity. So there was lots of flow, even though there was lots of challenge at the same time.
sorry to hear that, Jill.
Oh, please don't be sorry. It's nothing you can do. I did do a video and send it about being sorry about my stuff.
I haven't seen that yet. Thank you.
Oh, you better. Because I don't like it.
Okay. I'm not sorry, Jill.
That's good, because there's nothing for you to be sorry about.
Good.
So yeah, just no matter what happens, if you step into the flow, things move the way they're supposed to. And if you force it, you can actually cause more problems.
That's a great example. It's like, I get this sense of the waters parting for whatever needs your attention at the time. Sometimes it's your business, sometimes it's personal, and sometimes it's your own health and your body. Can't help that, but we're always shown where our attention needs to be, I think. So that's a great story. Thanks, Jill. Well, on that note, I'm going to share the tip for this month, which is animal messages. So each month I share a natural timing tip for the purpose of helping you attune to nature, which is a reflection of your own nature and is ultimately how I developed my attunement with natural timing, is from spending so much time in nature, the cycles of nature, observing animals and plants, really absorbing my environment and seeing how nature works. And of course, that's how I grow my business, by nature. So the purpose of animal messages is to really take note of what animals come across your path at any given time, because there is a purpose. And Indigenous people know this well. They know very well what animal signs mean. When they see a crow fly across the sky, it means something to them. It might be something personal, it might be say something about what's happening universally in the weather system. But the purpose of this is to increase or enhance your observational skills and also your attunement to what those animals coming across your path mean. So my example from just the other day is I saw my first cassowary in the wild, which is a really big deal because it's quite rare to see them in the wild because they live so far in the rainforest. And for anyone who's watching who doesn't know what a cassowary is, it's basically a big bird, a big prehistoric bird.
A vicious one.
A vicious one, yeah. They have very big claws, dinosaur claws, and they pretty much are the height of a human. So when I saw that in the wild, and I was just observing the cassowary and how it moves around, and it's very deliberate where it places its feet. And of course, they're very territorial. For those who don't know, they defend their territory, and they have a very good defense system because they've been known to use their feet to claw down a human if they get too close, or if they're too close in their territory. So their feet come up, the 2 feet come up, and they claw whoever's in their path. And obviously you have to be very aggressive for this to happen, but they defend their territory aggressively if needed. So my message at that point was actually around boundaries. And cassowaries know their sacred space. They know what is theirs. They feel, you watch them walk around and they're very confident beings. And it made me look at myself and go, I don't walk around like that a lot of the time. Half the time I don't even know what my boundaries are or where my boundary is, or claiming my space and defending my not defending in an active sense, but being aware of where my boundary lies and meeting people at that boundary, not just allowing them to come in and whatever, sit in my lounge room when I haven't opened the door for them, that kind of thing. So these subtle messages can be very profound, have a profound impact. And if you haven't, I'll show you. For those who haven't, might already have a book that allows you to look up animal messages, I recommend doing that. If you don't, this is a great one. It's Animal Dreaming, but that's for Australian animals. You can get international ones and, of course, ones for your own country's animals. And it can be very enlightening, and it really helps you to refine your sense of how you interact with the natural world. And if you can develop that kind of refinement with how you interact with your business, I can tell you from experience that you really are ahead of the rest. It is a very valuable skill or muscle to develop in your business, is that level of attunement to what your business needs. So that cassowary showed me what I need. Your business is showing you at all times what it needs too. All right, let's dig into Virgo. Okay, before we do, of course, we want to review Leo. Now, my God, what a month that was. I'm just still deep breathing from those 2 eclipses. I'm not sure about you, but sure shook things up a bit. My goodness. So interestingly, or unsurprisingly, you know, because eclipses represent so much change and upgrading of how we are operating personally and in business, half of my actions became irrelevant throughout the month, and things turned in a bit of a different direction. So I was not expecting that, but really I should have, given that it was eclipse time. So this is the opportunity to tick off what you completed last month, what you're carrying over to this month or future months, and what no longer applies. So make sure you do that and just breathe into that turn of the cycle, letting go of what's been and welcoming in the Virgo. All right, so Virgo, being an earth sign, is here, as I said, to help us to get real. Virgos don't beat around the bush. They know what needs to be done and they do it. They're very good at optimization. So they can see what resources are needed in order to improve the status quo. So Virgo is all about continuous improvement. So this month you want to be looking at your business through the eyes of continuous improvement. How can I make things better? And particularly in relation to your systems and how well you're organized in your business. Taking care of details. Virgo is the time to set up your business for accelerated growth throughout the rest of the year. And for those who haven't worked with this cycle before, the acceleration happens at Christmas time because it's Capricorn. It's the fruit on the tree. Capricorn is all about results. So everything that you've done throughout the natural year comes to fruition in December, January. So in natural time, it's not a good time for downtime then, because we want to be making sure we're reaping the rewards of everything we've done for the year. So Virgo now is the time to make, with Capricorn, with the end of the natural year in mind, okay, so when things are really flourishing, I'm not going to have time for this back end stuff. I'm not going to be able to take care of those details then. I'm going to be with a very different focus. So it's preparation time, really, for growth. So that's why we also want to revisit our 12 cycle plan. So it's just time to take care of business this month. It's not a super creative time. It's being real about what you need, your business needs to operate efficiently. So, as some examples, My cycle intention is to create order and flow within all my business functions and projects. And in terms of actions, establishing a routine for the True Abundance Oasis membership community. Emphasis on routine. We've been in creative phase for the last few months of, new members coming in, figuring out what schedule we want to create to give some structure to the community. Now it's really to embed that routine. That's the priority. Completing my tax return, I always leave it for Virgo every year. So I don't do it in Leo because I'm in creative mode then. I don't want to even look at numbers. So I like to get my hands dirty, so to speak, with my numbers for the year in Virgo. So it helps me to get real. So I still do my own tax return, mainly for that reason, because it helps me to stay connected to my business, where it's at, what's needed, the numbers, immersing myself in all of that. And I really get a feel for what is going to upgrade for the following financial year. So really pick your timing with these kinds of things, because you want to have the universe on your side. You want to have the universal energy in flow with what you're doing. So on the same lines, I'm upgrading my bookkeeping processes. They're due for an upgrade. I've been doing the same processes for a year, and I need to review more strategically about how I'm managing my money. And refining my calendar and daily schedule. So this is to make the most of my time. Optimize your time. If you are a Virgo, optimize your time. It is your primary human resource. Far more important than money. If you can't master time, you won't be able to master money. So I'm learning lots about this at the moment, and I've actually been learning from George Cow, he's just a master of joyful productivity, as he calls it. And he has incredible discipline and structure in his daily schedule. I encourage you to check out his stuff. He publishes a lot of free information about that online, how to schedule your calendar. It's very useful to look to examples of people who are managing their time well to help you to up level. We've just gone through, remember, this eclipse, this solar eclipse, which we're all kind of just coming, I feel like I've just stepped out of a washing machine myself. But that eclipse was a real upgrade. So here we were humming along like this, and then the eclipse happened, and now we're humming along up here. We haven't even understood what level we're operating at yet, but we do need an upgrade of our operations. So, make friends with Virgo this month. Get a little bit anal about time and scheduling and those little nitty-gritty things. They really do matter. And the more attention you pay to them this month, the more it pays off later in the year. Does anyone have any questions or comments they want to share about Virgo? Perhaps your tasks for the month. Is everyone feeling clear about what their strategic actions are for this month?
No, but I got a message last Friday. It was like a spirit message, intuitive message, whatever you want to call it. And it was just restructure my days. So it's like it was, now I'm realizing why it happened then. But now I've just got to work out what exactly does that mean. So seeing your note there at the bottom, refine your calendar and your daily schedule. think that's what I'm needing to do as well. I just don't quite know how yet I want to do that. I'm just not sure what that's going to look like, but I think it's well with that message.
Well, it's okay to not know what it's going to look like, but you know it needs attention, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Sometimes that's enough. You know, you just know, okay, there's a gap there. I'll write it down for the month. And throughout the month, it becomes clear what it needs to be.
Yeah.
And as I said, really tap into, you know, the experts like George who do this very well. And there's plenty of others out there too. I'm happy to share if you want to ask me after the call as well.
Okay, thanks.
Cool.
Interestingly, with that call of George's, I wasn't on live and I listened to it, and I had so much resistance to most of what he was saying. A lot of resistance. It's like, no, that's not, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be so structured and so tightly. It just feels tight and masculine, and just the complete opposite of everything that I'm trying to achieve at the moment, you know. And I'm fully resisting it. So I've got to watch his Q&A call now today and see if that helps any. Now that we're in Virgo, maybe it'll click.
It really does help when the energy shifts into a new cycle. It's like, you know, part of your cheerleading team. It's like, come on, Jody, let's do your daily schedule. But I hear what you're saying about, you know, the over masculine way of scheduling and planning. Of course, that's what we're here to balance out. So it is important that you find something that, or someone who's modeling something that you admire. You know? So, and there's plenty of, as I said, there's plenty of people out there modeling this kind of thing, greater productivity and that. But I'm happy to share just little tidbits that I've gleaned from different people, because I haven't found someone that I want to model entirely either. So
yeah.
Can I say something about
yeah,
that? Because I also feel the same way, Jody, that it's excessively linear and left brain and masculine. So we're not at all expecting any of us to be able, you know, to even attempt or think that we should model what George does. But what it is for me is a corrective. It's like I can see, okay, that's all the way this way, and I'm all the way this way. You know, there's like complete divergence here, and I have the same reaction of like resistance and pulling back and feeling, you know, kind of like overly controlled. So then I have to really breathe and say, okay, I'm not supposed to turn into this person, but there's a lot to learn here. And then there's just some ways that I need to now decide, pick and choose to what degree and with what elements I might be able to improve what I'm doing or change what I'm doing. And it's definitely my goal to find a way to express a happy medium. You know, we shouldn't have to think that it's either all one way or all the other way.
That's right.
Yeah.
Good point. I agree. Gillian.
Just on what Tomar and what's going on there is that I used to have a really super structured life, and now it's all over the place. And there's a part of me that actually desires that structure, because I know that it's going to build the roots and trunks of my tree. And I just have to bite the bullet and go back to doing some of that part that I used to, and do it really effectively, because I know that it really gives strength to the flow. And it's a good reminder of both of you and your resistance. I so understand. But I also see the value in it. And so my question is actually not around that. Remember last month I asked how I was going to deal with all the Leos?
Oh, yes.
Guess what? How am I going to deal with all the Virgos?
Oh, classic. Yeah.
Because it did work. It did work.
Good. Excellent. Yeah, well, let's touch on that for a moment. The shadow side of Virgo is being overly controlled and structured. So the tendency can be not to trust in the flow of life, like all three of you have alluded to. So we are looking for that balance between flow and structure. And especially, this is really important, we've just gone through an upgrade with this eclipse. It means, an upgrade means we're producing more as human beings. We're being more, we're stepping up, we're offering more. In order to offer more, we need more structure. If you want more flow, want more creative flow, you need to get more structured. So that's what I say about optimizing your time, your number one resource. Yeah.
It's a bit like strengthening the banks so there's more flow, isn't there? More direct flow to where you want it to go.
That's it. Yeah. Yep. And you know, it's just very wise. Increase your creative flow, increase your structure. Creative flow, structure, creative flow, structure. You know, we're just looking for that balance at all times, aiming for it. All right, so if we dig into the month itself, my goodness, we get a reprieve after Mercury retrograde. There's no eclipses. So very briefly, you want to mark off your days off for the month, any holidays, any birthdays, anniversaries, days that are just off the cards for work. You want to look at the new moon and the full moon and get a sense of where they sit in the cycle. So we've got a nice lead up of a couple of weeks to the full moon. And that is in Pisces. So Pisces is the antithesis of Virgo. So they balance each other out. Pisces, on the other hand, is the one that has complete trust in the flow of life and likes to just float down the river, you know, without any structure in place. So they learn from each other, and that's a really good time this month to crystallize some of these routines, practices, processes, systems that you want to embed, because you've got that polarity of the Pisces and the Virgo working together. The new moon towards the end of the cycle, because we've just had one. Yeah, thinking about, okay, so once I've reached my peak of what I'm achieving this month, what does it distill down to? So this little window between the full moon, the new moon, and also the window from now in the crescendo up to the full moon, just being aware of those turning points in the cycle and what you want to achieve this month in terms of timing. And with your actions, just if you know there is a particular time that is going to be optimal for you to take those actions, then pop them on the calendar. That's what the numbers are for. 6 actions on the calendar. Some of them will have a particular timing to them that is important. Some won't. That's cool. Just put the timing ones on there. So I've got some launches that I'm working toward, or a launch, sorry, this month that I know has a date. So pop that in. And yeah, so as an example, I'm launching, or I'm doing a soft launch essentially on a new moon. So the 2 weeks after that new moon is the crescendo to the full moon. So that is a great time for energy to build if you are launching something new. Does anyone have any questions or examples they want to share about this month? Cool. All right. I'm going to show you something very Virgo-ish in a moment for those who are interested in getting more scheduled around the natural cycles. I'm just going to go back to my screen here. Okay, well, guess what? The natural cycles now has its own Google Calendar. What this means is you can integrate it with your current Google Calendar or iCal if you use it. It contains all of the retrogrades, as you can see here. Retrogrades, where the turn of the cycle is. So Leo ends, Virgo begins, what the theme of the month is. These planning calls are also scheduled in this calendar. This is a public calendar. Anyone can see it and use it. And when I say integrate it with your current calendar, if you use Google, where is it? I have to get my own calendar up. In a second. So my own calendar here. Just go ahead a bit. So there's nothing there at the moment. But what you can see on the left-hand side here, in Google Calendar, you have options to create multiple calendars. So this one, Natalie Kent, is my sacred business calendar. All my client calls go in there. Natural Cycles has its own calendar. So you can add it to your current calendar in Google. And I'm going to include all the links to do this, because all you essentially need to do if you use Google Calendar, I'll send you the link to this calendar here, and you just click on the plus sign right at the bottom. In fact, I'll just put that in the chat now. Okay, so that's the Google Calendar. You just need to click the plus and it will add automatically to your current calendar. If you use iCal, I'll send you the other link. Actually, it's here. We want iCal. Where's the little thing gone? Okay, that's the link to iCal. What that will do is automatically populate in your iCal on your Mac. And voila, you have all of the cycles as prompts in your calendar from now on. So you'll see that in my calendar, if I go month to month, it has Mercury retrograde. It's not going to interfere with your calendar. It just sits at the top there as a reminder. If you don't want to see it in your planner, in your calendar, you just have to untick the box and it removes it for you. Sometimes you may not want that in view. So, and you'll see when Sagittarius ends, Capricorn starts, all of that is there integrated for you, plus the new moons and the full moons. So is that helpful? Tell me, Virgo people.
So that, we all talked at once. So Nat, so that's the iCal. I don't have a Mac if I've just got, is that the same one if I've just got a, whatever I've got, Windows or something?
Windows.
Or whatever, I don't know. The iCal you said was for Mac, is it, or is that just for everybody?
iCal is an Apple product, so
right.
It's only for Mac. But
yeah,
if
okay.
you're using if you're using Windows, I just recommend using Google Calendar.
Yeah, so that's all. So that's, but I need a different click to that, or I can just go into Google Calendar and I'll find you.
No, so the first link that I just shared is the link to the calendar.
So that link, I didn't, can someone else see that link? Because I've only got the link for Mac. I haven't got the other in the chat.
The iCal one too.
Yeah, there's only the iCal that I've got.
Oh, it went privately. I don't know why.
Right.
Okay. There we go.
That's what yeah.
That's the one. Yeah, so that's what you'd use for Windows. I just recommend using Google Calendar. And you can download it on your phone so that you always have it available. You know, you can't cart this thing around with you everywhere. So if you want to know where the turn of the cycle is, you can just bring up your phone app.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. Beautiful.
Cool. Any other questions?
Not so much a question. I'm just having a bit of a chuckle about how while you were talking and we were discussing, you know, is there anything about Virgo, you know, do you want to share anything that's happened and all the rest of it? And I was just thinking, and then you pulled up the calendar and I had a laugh because the other day I was meeting with some other people, Jody included, and I've been sitting here while you're talking, actually working through all of the different dates I need to actually create events in Facebook for the new moon recordings that I do that are live like this. And I'm realizing just now just how structured I've become in the last couple of days, and like it's been leading up to it, but it's like click in and going, I'm sitting here chatting, listening to you talking, and I'm writing out these dates and going, oh, my calendar, and getting planned for a year as well. But before I wouldn't have bothered. It would be much more flowy and much more dealing with it at the time. But now it's like I can't do that anymore. I really need to be planning for the entire year and having these things set as events in Facebook and as, you know, dates in my calendar to function from, so that the structure is there for me to move through and with, rather than butting up against it at the last minute going, oh my God, I've got to do this now. And I've, you know, and that's because that's how it's been going for the last couple of years, as you know.
Yep. Good. So Virgo has really kicked in. That's great. Because Virgo always has a plan, always a contingency plan. So no surprises.
Natalie.
Yes.
For the last 4 years, I've been manually doing this. I am super grateful. It's so mind-numbingly boring going through every month and changing the dates because it's never the same every year.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm very grateful that you're doing all the work. Thank you.
No worries. I do the work and we all benefit. Great. Thanks.
Can I just ask one question? Can you go through that process again a little bit slower?
Which process?
Adding the calendar to my Google.
Okay, so all you need to do is, I'll just share my screen again. So click on the calendar link. This is for those of you who want to use Google Calendar, not iCal. So if you want to use Google Calendar, click on the link, the second link that I just shared.
Mm-hmm.
And it will bring you to this page. And to add it to your calendar, there's a little plus sign at the bottom right. That when you click that, and if I click it now, it's not going to work for me because it's already part of my calendar. It will automatically add it to your left of my calendars. Yep.
Thank
so
you.
Public calendar, so anyone can use it. So you can share it around if you want to share that link with anyone else who's using the planner. Please do.
So I have a question then, Nat, on if I want to, because I've seen now I've added it to my iCal and it's showing up on my phone. So if I change it, because there's no alerts or anything on there, if I change it and create alerts in there for myself, that's not going to change anything on your system, is it?
No. So
okay, great.
I'm the only one who has edit access to the calendar, but everyone has view access. Anyone.
So does that I can't edit it?
No,
you can't edit it. When you say you want alerts, you want to be told.
Reminded that it's coming up.
Yep. I'm reluctant to do that because it would mean that everyone would get it. So
okay.
I haven't found a way.
Get it! Yeah. Make it happen. Make it happen, Natalie. Bugger everyone else.
The one for the mornings, and I've just put the alert in for 15 minutes before. Is that showing up now on yours?
No,
before
that won't show up. Oh, where?
Okay, so that 15 minutes. I've just put a 15-minute alert.
Oh, whereabouts?
In my calendar.
Yep.
Like on my phone.
Yep.
Is it showing up on yours? So has it changed yours?
For which thing were you alerting?
Today's call.
today's call. So if I click on that.
Yeah. Has that got a 15-minute alert on there now?
No. So are you able to
I
adjust?
think I can do that.
Yeah, maybe you can.
So at least on mine, I can put in one alert for 15 minutes before.
Yep.
It doesn't allow more than one. It only allows one alert in the iPhone.
Okay.
But there's one there.
That'd be great if you could test it out, Jodie. And let us
Mine
know.
does too.
Yeah?
Mine does too. Yeah.
I've got a Mac and I've just opened it, but I can't seem to see it. All it's got is add to Google, but how do I add it to mine?
I shared the iCal link in the chat.
Yes, I did that. And I've opened up my calendar and it's not there.
Did you do the same thing that you did for the Dow calendar?
I've opened, let me go back into the link. Oh gosh. Okay. Yeah. Let me reboot it.
Yeah. So it's exactly the same process as you did for Dow. So it should work at some, maybe.
Okay. Well, it's going calendar.google.com. So it's opened up a different calendar in the link. I'm not sure what it's done. And I followed that link.
I can help you after we finish, Priscilla.
That's fine. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Maybe later I'll talk to you.
Yep. Let me know. Are you using the right link? It's not the second link. It's the first link.
Oh, do.
Yeah.
I'm still in Leo, obviously. Click on it.
Still in Leo.
Well, and I clicked on the second link. Very weird. I can see it. It's weird.
So, just to
I'll
finish.
talk to you later.
Yeah. Oh, that's loud. Okay. Talk about animal dreaming. So just to finish up. Oh my God, whose is that? Who's got the crow? Or it's a raven, maybe.
We're at time.
Just to finish up. So Sacred Business is now on Instagram. This is a very new world for me, but I will be sharing some natural timing tips and things on there. If you want to follow me on follow Sacred Business on Instagram, that's the handle @Sacred Business. And of course, the natural timing hashtag is for us all to use on Facebook and Instagram and beyond. So please use it and let's share this message of natural timing with as many people as we can.